1954. A brownstone on the Upper East Side. A woman in a silk robe at a small table. Half a grapefruit on a plate, black coffee in a porcelain cup. No toast, no cereal, no sugar bowl. She weighs 118 pounds and has been for 11 years. She never talks about how. None of them did. These are 25 diet methods wealthy American women practiced in private. Everyone worked, and most vanished before ordinary families ever heard of them. Number 25. The grapefruit before every meal. Upper-class women ate half a grapefruit before every meal. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They believed it burned fat. The science was more nuanced than that, but the result was real. A ruby red grapefruit on a Wedgwood plate. A serrated grapefruit spoon with a silver handle. A light dusting of saccharin from a tiny glass shaker. Never sugar. The sharp tartness hitting the tongue before a single bite of food arrived. The practice traced back to the Hollywood diet of the 1930s. By the late 40s, it had become a fixture at upper-class tables across the eastern seaboard. A grapefruit cost 5 cents at the A&P in 1952. A 2004 study at the Scripps Clinic confirmed that participants who ate half a grapefruit before meals lost significantly more weight. The naringenin in grapefruit affects how the body processes insulin. She started every meal by slowing down. The grapefruit was not a diet trick. It was a pause. The food industry could not sell a pause. So it sold breakfast cereal instead. But the grapefruit was only the beginning of what happened at that breakfast table. What she drank mattered even more than what she ate. Number 24. The black coffee breakfast. Wealthy women drank black coffee for breakfast and called it done. No cream, no sugar, no food until noon. Maxwell House or Chase and Sanborn percolated on the stove. A porcelain cup, never a mug. 1 cup, sometimes 2. Sipped slowly while scanning the morning paper or reviewing the day. The children sat at the kitchen table eating scrambled eggs and buttered toast. She did not join them. A pound of Maxwell House cost 79 cents in 1953. That was breakfast for a month. She did not call it intermittent fasting. She did not have a name for it. That instinct has now been repackaged and sold back to women as a Silicon Valley wellness discovery. Number 23. The vinegar and water morning tonic. A tablespoon of apple cider vinegar stirred into a glass of warm water. Taken first thing every morning on an empty stomach. Heinz apple cider vinegar. 23 cents a bottle, 1 tablespoon in 8 ounces of warm water, the sharp smell rising from the glass. The slight wince at the first swallow, some stirred in a half teaspoon of honey to cut the bite. Done before anyone else in the house was awake. A 2009 study found that daily vinegar intake reduced body weight, waist circumference, and visceral fat over 12 weeks. Her doctor never recommended it. Her friends in the garden club did. The best health advice of that era traveled by word of mouth, not by prescription pad. Number 22. The bouillon cup at 4 in the afternoon. Instead of a snack between meals, wealthy women sipped a cup of clear beef or chicken bouillon. Hot, salty, filling, and roughly 10 calories. A Knorr bouillon cube dissolved in a china teacup of boiling water, or homemade stock ladled from a pot on the back burner. The steam curling above the rim, the faint smell of roasted bone and bay leaf, served on a saucer with a small silver spoon. This was the dangerous hour, the gap between lunch and dinner when hunger crept in. The bouillon killed it. 5 cents for a single cube, Modern researchers confirm that hot broth triggers satiety signals faster than solid snack food of equal caloric value. She did not snack, she had a cup of broth. The distinction sounds small. It was everything, but the bouillon was part of a larger pattern. These women had strict rules about when they ate, and one of those rules changed the shape of the entire evening. Number 21. The no eating after 6 rule. The kitchen closed after dinner. No exceptions. No evening snacking. No bedtime treat. Nothing after 6 or 7 in the evening. Dinner served at 6:15. Plates cleared by 7. The kitchen wiped down. The light switched off. If hunger arrived at 9, she drank a glass of water or a cup of chamomile tea. Discipline that was not called discipline, it was called manners. A 2019 study from the University of Alabama at Birmingham tested this approach. Time-restricted eating improved insulin sensitivity and reduced blood pressure independent of weight loss. Nobody sold her an app to track her eating window. She stopped eating when dinner was done. That was the whole system. 5 methods in, and not one required a product. No pills, no powders, no branded program. Just timing, temperature, and a willingness to sit with hunger instead of solving it. The wealthiest women in post-war America stayed thin using methods that cost almost nothing. That was the real secret. And that is exactly why none of it was ever advertised. Number 20. The cottage cheese and fruit plate. The ladies who lunch had a very specific lunch. A scoop of cottage cheese on a lettuce leaf with canned peach halves or fresh melon, served on a chilled plate at the country club. Breakstone cottage cheese, large curd. A crisp iceberg lettuce leaf underneath. Del Monte canned peach halves arranged beside it, or a quarter of cantaloupe in season. A few rye crisp crackers on the side. A glass of unsweetened iced tea. This was the standard midday meal at the tea room at Bonwit Teller at the country club in Westchester at the restaurant inside Neiman Marcus. The whole plate came in under 300 calories. A serving of Breakstone cost 12 cents. It was not deprivation, it was a code. Every woman at the table ordered the same thing. Nobody discussed why. Number 19. The small plate trick. Wealthy women served themselves on salad plates and bread plates rather than full dinner plates. The portion looked complete. The calorie count dropped by 1/3. A Lenox or Noritake bread plate roughly 6 inches across. A modest serving of roast chicken and steamed green beans filled it edge to edge. The eye told the brain the plate was full. Modern optical illusion studies suggest this works. Serving food on a smaller plate tricks the brain into feeling satisfied with less. She did not count a single calorie. She used a smaller plate. The simplest diet trick of the 20th century, and nobody could charge a dime for it. Number 18. The European mineral water habit. Upper-class American women drank mineral water throughout the day, often with a squeeze of fresh lemon. They drank it instead of juice, milk or soda. Perrier in the green glass bottle, imported from France, or Vichy Celestins with its medicinal fizz. A squeeze of lemon over the rim. Served at lunch, at dinner, at the bridge table. While the rest of America drank Coca-Cola at 6.5 cents a bottle, these women drank carbonated water. They consumed 0 liquid calories all day long. The average American today drinks nearly 400 calories a day in sweetened beverages alone. They were not following a trend. They were following their mothers, who had traveled to European spas before the war. The habit looked like sophistication. It was strategy. Water was one half of that equation. The other half was what they refused to put in their coffee. Number 17. The Saccharin Tablet. Long before Sweet and Low reached mainstream grocery shelves, wealthy women carried Saccharin tablets in small silver cases inside their handbags. A tiny white tablet dropped into coffee instead of sugar. Abbott Laboratories Sucralose tablets, purchased at the pharmacy counter. A quarter-grain tablet the size of an aspirin, dissolved instantly in hot liquid. A faint metallic aftertaste that you learned not to notice. The small silver pill box pulled quietly from a handbag at a restaurant table. One tab replaced 2 teaspoons of sugar at 16 calories each. Over 3 cups a day, that was nearly 100 fewer calories before the lunchtime. She carried her own sweetener the way she carried her own handkerchief. Quietly, without explanation, because she had decided what she would and would not put in her body. Number 16. The salad with lemon only. No dressing, no oil and vinegar. A wedge of iceberg lettuce with nothing on it but a squeeze of fresh lemon and a grind of black pepper. A head of iceberg lettuce, 10 cents at the market. Cut into a wedge or torn by hand into a wooden salad bowl. A lemon half squeezed across the top, the clean crunch of cold lettuce, the bright hit of citrus. No Thousand Island, no creamy Italian, no green goddess from the bottle. While Kraft and Wishbone flooded supermarket shelves with bottled dressings at 39 cents each, these women squeezed a lemon. The calories saved were not the point. The point was control. She decided what went on her plate, not a bottle and not a brand. Number 15. The one-plate rule. She filled her plate once and she did not go back. No seconds, no matter how good the roast was. Sunday dinner at the dining room table. The platter of roast beef, the bowl of mashed potatoes, the green beans with slivered almonds. She took moderate portions of each. One plate. When it was empty, she set her fork down and placed her napkin beside the plate. Her husband might go back for seconds. Her sons might. She did not. She ate what she took, and she took what she needed. That sentence governed a generation of women who never read a diet book in their lives. Notice what is missing from this list so far. No gym membership, no treadmill, no personal trainer. These women did not exercise their way thin. They managed the when and the how much with a discipline so embedded in daily routine that it did not feel like discipline at all. It felt like the way things were done. That is the difference between a diet and a life. Number 14. The weekly fast day. Many upper-class women observed one day per week, usually Monday, on which they ate almost nothing. Clear broth, black tea, water. They called it resting the system. Monday morning, after a Sunday dinner party, no breakfast. A cup of clear chicken broth at noon. Black tea with lemon at 3. A glass of warm water before bed. The kitchen untouched, the stove cold all day. She read. She wrote correspondence. She moved through the house at a slower pace. It felt like a quiet day, not a punishment. She gave her body one day a week with nothing to do but rest. The modern wellness industry now sells the same idea under the name 5-2 intermittent fasting at $40 a month for the app. She did it for free in a silk robe with a library book. Number 13. The standing lunch. Some wealthy women made a quiet habit of eating midday meals standing at the kitchen counter. In New York and Philadelphia society, it was more common than anyone discussed. A few bites of cold chicken, a small plate of celery sticks and radishes, a glass of water, eaten standing between the morning errands and the afternoon appointments. She did not sit down because sitting down meant settling in, and settling in meant eating more. The meal lasted 5 minutes. A 2018 study in the Journal of Consumer Research confirmed that standing while eating reduces the amount consumed. She was not starving herself. She was refusing to make lunch into an event. The smaller the ritual, the smaller the portion. But the most private dietary habit of wealthy American women was not about what they ate or how they stood. It was about what they wore underneath their clothes. Number 12. The girdle as portion control. The foundation garment was not just shaping the silhouette. It was physically restricting how much a woman could eat at any sitting. Every woman who wore one knew it. A Playtex living girdle at $2.95 from the department store. Or a formiate or maiden form with boning and hook and eye closures, pulled on every morning before the dress. The compression around the waist was firm enough to make overeating genuinely uncomfortable. By the third bite of dessert, the girdle made its position clear. The elastic pressed back. The boning did not give. A 1956 Gallup poll found that more than 75% of American women wore some form of foundation garment daily. She wore a garment that made it physically difficult to overeat. She did not call it a weight loss strategy. She called it getting dressed. Number 11. The champagne substitution. At cocktail parties and dinners, society women ordered champagne instead of mixed drinks. Because a flute of champagne carried roughly half the calories of a Manhattan, or a whiskey sour. A coupe glass of Moet and Chandon, or Piper Heidsieck, 80 calories per glass against 200 for a Manhattan. She held the glass. She sipped slowly. She never ordered a second. The bubbles created the illusion of indulgence while delivering a fraction of the caloric load. At a country club dinner where 3 cocktails before the appetizer was standard, the champagne woman consumed 300 fewer calories before the first course arrived. She did not announce she was watching her figure. She simply asked for champagne. The glass did the work. Number 10. The gelatin mold as dessert replacement. Unflavored or lightly flavored gelatin desserts replaced cake and pie at the tables of weight-conscious women. The gelatin filled the stomach. The calories barely registered. Knox unflavored gelatin or Jell-O in lime or lemon. Set in a copper mold with canned mandarin orange segments suspended inside. Turned out onto a chilled plate with a small cloud of whipped cream. 15 to 30 calories a serving against 300 for a slice of pound cake. The cool wobble on the spoon. A box of Jell-O cost 10 cents in 1954. She was not denying herself dessert. She was redefining what dessert meant. That quiet redefinition did more than any calorie chart ever published. Not every method on this list was about eating less. Some of the most effective habits involved moving more, in ways that never once looked like exercise. Number 9. The daily walk. Wealthy women walked, not for fitness, for errands, for shopping, for social calls. 2 miles a day was ordinary, and it burned more calories than most modern gym visits. Low-heeled pumps on the sidewalk, a wool coat buttoned in autumn, a leather handbag on the forearm. She walked to the butcher, to the florist, to the post office, to the house of a friend for morning coffee. 2 miles across a morning of stops and conversations. No spandex, no heart rate monitor, no fitness tracker on the wrist. The National Institutes of Health estimates that walking 2 miles daily at a moderate pace burns roughly 200 calories. Over a full year, that accounts for more than 15 pounds of weight difference. She was not working out. She was living her day. Daily life used to require the body to move. Then the suburb and the station wagon took the walking away, and the treadmill industry was born to sell it back. There is a pattern buried in these 25 methods that no diet book has ever stated plainly. These women did not fight hunger. They managed it. They did not eliminate pleasure. They redirected it. A smaller plate, not an empty one. A glass of champagne, not a vow of abstinence. They understood that the body does not respond to war. It responds to negotiation. That knowledge did not survive the 1960s. Number 8, the dry toast and tea ritual. 1 thin slice of toast and a cup of tea with lemon. That was breakfast for a certain kind of woman. It was not deprivation. It was considered elegance. 1 slice of Pepperidge Farm white bread, toasted just past golden. No butter, no jam. A cup of Lipton tea with a thin slice of lemon floating at the surface, the dry crunch between the teeth. The warmth of the cup held in both hands. Fewer than 100 calories. The same breakfast served at the Ritz in Paris and at Claridge's in London. Not poverty food, refinement food. She did not eat less because she could not afford more. She ate less because she had decided that enough was enough. That lesson is harder to find now than it was then. Number 7, the yogurt. European-born or European-traveled society, women ate plain yogurt daily, a food that most Americans in the 1950s considered foreign and vaguely medicinal. Dannon yogurt in the small glass jar. Introduced to the American market in 1942, but sold almost exclusively in delicatessens in New York until the mid-50s. Thick, sour, and completely unflavored. Eaten with a small spoon, sometimes with a drizzle of honey. 8 ounces contained roughly 150 calories and 12 grams of protein. The tang on the tongue that most Americans found unpleasant in those years. She ate it because her mother had eaten it, or because she had tasted it in Paris after the war. It was not a trend. It was a tradition. America would not catch up for 20 years, and when it finally did, the sugar content tripled and the benefit disappeared. Number 6, the elimination of white bread. Decades before the low-carb movement had a name, upper-class women quietly stopped eating white bread. They switched to Melba toast or removed bread from the table entirely. Melba toast, thin as a playing card, 12 calories per slice. Devonshire brand or Old London, sold in flat paper boxes for 20 cents. While Wonder Bread built a commercial empire on soft enriched white bread at 20 cents a loaf. These women were eating toast you could see through. She had not read a clinical study. She had noticed that when she stopped eating bread, her skirts fit better by Friday. That was the whole clinical trial. 1 woman and a zipper. Number 5, the Metrecal liquid meal. In 1959, Mead Johnson released Metrecal, a canned liquid diet drink. It became the first commercially successful meal replacement in American history. Wealthy women were the first to buy it, and the last to admit it. A beige can with clinical lettering. 225 calories per serving. Chocolate, vanilla, or butterscotch. Chalky, metallic, vaguely sweet. Sold at pharmacies for 99 cents a can. By 1960, Mead Johnson could not keep it on the shelves. Sales exceeded $100 million in 2 years. She drank one for lunch and told no one. The empty can went in the trash before her husband walked through the door. She wanted to be thin, and she did not want to discuss it. The can was the answer. It was also the beginning of the end. The moment the food industry realized it could sell women a product to replace actual food. Every Slim Fast and every protein shake sold today traces its business model back to that beige can. Everything on this list after this point gets darker. The first 20 items were strategies. The last 5 were desperation. The truth about wealthy women and weight in mid-century America is simple. Underneath the discipline and the elegance, there was pressure that nobody discussed in public. A woman who gained weight lost social standing. That was not a feeling. That was a fact. Number 4, the cigarette instead of dessert. When dessert was served after dinner, many society women lit a cigarette instead. Lucky Strike had been telling women since the 1920s to reach for a Lucky instead of a sweet. By the 50s, the message had done its work. A silver cigarette case on the dinner table. Lucky Strike, Pall Mall, or Chesterfield. The click of the case opening. The flare of the match. The first slow exhale across the table while the rest of the party ate chocolate mousse. Nicotine suppressed the appetite and raised the metabolic rate slightly. The Lucky Strike 1928 campaign was one of the first in American advertising history to market cigarettes as a weight control tool. She chose smoke over sugar. The industry told her it was a fair exchange. The cancer ward told her otherwise 20 years later. Number 3, the thyroid pill from the private doctor. Society physicians prescribed low-dose thyroid extract to women who were not clinically hypothyroid. The medication artificially raised the metabolic rate. The weight fell off. The consequences took longer to arrive. A discreet visit to a physician on Park Avenue. A prescription for desiccated thyroid extract processed from animal glands. Armour Thyroid was the leading brand. The pill cost pennies. The office visit cost $15. Heart palpitations came first, then the trembling hands, then the insomnia. Bone density loss was never mentioned. She noticed she could eat freely and still lose weight. She told no one about the prescription. Her doctor told no one about the risks. She trusted the doctor trusted the pharmaceutical company. Nobody trusted her with the full truth. Number 2, the dexedrine diet pill. Physicians prescribed dexedrine and benzedrine, pharmaceutical-grade amphetamines, to wealthy women for weight loss throughout the 1950s. It was legal, it was common, and it was devastating. A small triangular orange tablet, 5 milligrams, manufactured by Smith, Klein, and French, prescribed by private physicians who wrote it down as an appetite suppressant. She felt electric, alert, euphoric. She cleaned the house at midnight. She did not eat for 10 hours straight. She lost 12 pounds in a single month. Then the dose stopped working and the doctor increased it. Heart hammering at 3 in the morning. 2 days without sleep. The crash that swallowed the week. By 1962, roughly 8 billion amphetamine tablets were being manufactured annually in the United States. Billions went to women who had been told they simply needed to drop 10 pounds. The pills sat in the medicine cabinet between the aspirin and the cold cream. Her husband did not know. Her children did not know. The industry knew exactly what it was selling, but the darkest entry on this list did not come in a prescription bottle. It came from the culture itself, and it is the one nobody ever said out loud. Number 1, the quiet starvation. Beneath all the elegant strategies, a significant number of upper-class women in the 1950s simply starved. Not diagnosed, not treated, not named. They ate 400 or 500 calories a day and called it watching their figure. Black coffee at 7, half a grapefruit at noon. A few bites of broiled sole and steamed string beans at 6. A glass of water before bed. That was the entire day. Every day. The dull headache by mid-afternoon. The lightheadedness when she stood too quickly from the sofa. The way her rings began to spin on her fingers by October. A landmark 1950 study led by Dr. Ansel Keys at the University of Minnesota demonstrated the consequences. Semi-starvation, even at 1,500 calories per day, caused depression, obsessive food thoughts, social withdrawal, and lasting metabolic damage. The women on Park Avenue and in the stone houses of Grosse Pointe never read that study. They were living it. Nobody called it an eating disorder. There was no name for it yet. There was only a woman standing sideways in front of a mirror, measuring herself against an expectation that was never designed to be met. The diet industry did not invent that expectation, but it learned very quickly how to sell it. 25 methods. Some of them were brilliant. Some of them were dangerous. Every one of them was real. And the women who practiced them never wrote a book, never posted a photograph, never told a soul outside the bridge table. They buttoned their dress, walked out the front door, and let the world believe it all came naturally. And somewhere tonight, a woman is standing in her kitchen holding a glass of water with a tablespoon of vinegar in it. She read about it on the internet this morning. She has no idea whose kitchen she is standing in.